Hello, everybody. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hopefully we got this going here. Welcome to Ask TheMarshall. We're going live here, answering all your questions for Brantford, Brant County and beyond, your Ontario real estate questions. I hope you can hear me. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I've got a bunch of stuff here I'd like to talk to you about and some questions that were sent to me that I'd like to get answered, and any other questions that you may have that I can perhaps answer for you and help out with. So once again, I'm Adam Marshall here with Remax Twin City here in Brantford, and been working this real estate market, selling real estate in the Brantford area for over 22 years now. And so hopefully I can share some insights and some in-depth market knowledge and some ideas with you. So let's get to it. Let's jump right in. Let's talk about our real estate market and where we're at. Brantford real estate market, once again, I keep telling everyone, the market is strong. The market's moving along well. Our quick stats here to update you currently, and we're talking about residential properties, the residential listings on the market. There are currently 444 active residential listings on the market. In the past 30 days from today, floating 30 days, 112 properties have sold. So that leaves us with an absorption rate of just under 4%. 4 months of supply on the market. So what that means, once again, I've explained before, is that with the product that's on the market now being 444 houses, we currently sold 112 in the past 30 days. That means we have about just under 4 months supply on the market if no other properties came on the market and went for sale. So that gives us an idea. So we're in a good balanced market. We're right in the middle right now. That's in the city of Brantford. Now in the county of Brant, we currently have 230 active residential real estate listings. And in the past 30 days, 48 have sold. So that gives us an absorption rate of about 4.79 months. So 4.8 months supply. So right now that has shifted a little bit this past week. We're sitting somewhere in the middle in a balanced market. Now, skipping back to Brantford, and I've got some more in-depth stats here for you just to give you an idea. The average sales price for a house in the city of Brantford currently in the past 30 days was $597,992 to be exact, from what our stats are telling us. So that's our average sales price. So we're going to call it $598 for average, and the median sales price is $579. So once again, if you wrote everyone down, all the sale prices in a straight line, the equal amount of sales on the left and equal amount of sales on the right, the middle number would be $579,450. Now, the average days on market in the city of Brantford currently right now is sitting at 69 days. So if you list your house today and it's priced reasonably well, then it's going to probably be on the market approximately 69 days for a residential property. Right now, houses are selling for about 98.19% of asking price in the city of Brantford, to give you an idea. So that's telling me that sellers in the city of Brantford, for the most part, are pretty realistic about where the market's at. They're pretty realistic in terms of what they can get, and they're pricing accordingly. So that's encouraging. In the county of Brant, once again, flipping back to that, I told you we're in a balanced market there, which is great. The average sale price in the county of Brant was $834,747. So we'll call that $835,000, give or take. And the median number was $749,950. So $750,000 gives you a bit of an idea in terms of where you're at. Days on the market in the county of Brant was 80 days on the market. So a little bit longer in the county, which we've been talking about and we're aware of. The county is shifting between a buyer's market and a balanced market right now. And to support that, to let you know, the average house that sold for about 95.57% of asking price. So that gives you a bit of an idea. The sellers in the county, as we know, we've been talking about this, they've got to negotiate a little bit, and they are a bit. So give or take 5%, they're kind of negotiating by. So if you're out there in the market and you're looking for a house, you're making offers, or you're thinking about buying, that gives you a bit of a guideline. If you're looking in the county, they're selling for about 5% off asking. In the city, talking about 2% off. Okay, just to support that and give you a bit of an idea. If you have any questions, please post them in your comments below. Please let me know if there's anything else. If I don't get it to it today, I'll add it to my list. I'll make sure that I do get to it for next week when I'll update and give you some more. So today I'd like to touch with you on the importance of pricing your house correctly. As you can imagine, this is an important subject, and when we're in a balanced market or a buyer's market, it's even more important that you price it properly. Now, one question I get asked regularly is, what does pricing it correctly look like? Well, pricing a house correctly, there's a number of factors, but essentially, when you look at what has sold recently on the market, that is relatively comparable to your house. Now, let me determine relatively comparable. We're talking about a similar size in terms of square footage. We're talking about a similar neighborhood. We're talking about a similar layout and description, meaning a two-story, a bungalow, a raised ranch, raised bungalow, whatever you may call it in your area. You want to find something that is similar. If you have a farm, if you have a condominium, you have to compare apples to apples. That's the first part we have to focus on. And when we talk about the price, we got to look at condition. How does yours compare to the other ones? Now, I'm with you. I'm in part of this same explanation I'm going to give you right now, and that is the typical homeowner, generally speaking, will want to overprice their house. You naturally think that your house is worth more than the market does, or what a buyer may think your house is worth. So once you acknowledge that, you do have to kind of put that nugget in the back of your head and recognize that and be open to different suggestions and open to some criticism. And it's not negative, it's just becomes a fact and part of reality. So when we're talking about pricing, that's how we want to compare the houses, finding like versus like, and find out what they're selling for. No, don't look at what's on the market now. That's a different conversation for pricing, but you want to look at what has sold, because that's the end goal. We can price it wherever we want, but where it's going to sell is where it's going to sell. In terms of how buyers are reacting to it, what's happening with the market, what the supply looks like, all those factors come into play, and that becomes part of the strategy when you want to sell your house. And when you're dealing with your realtor and you're looking for advice, these are the things that you have to take into consideration. So, and then another thing that another metric that we can use to try to compare your house to other houses is obviously average price, sales price, but where we want to go is when we're finding houses that are similar size, we're looking at average price per foot that it's selling for. That's important. And generally speaking, in the province of Ontario, we always rate square footage with above grade square footage. So that's everything above ground. That is going to determine your square footage. So once you have some of those parameters in place, that's going to give you a bit of an idea in terms of, a starting point at least. Now, you look at condition. If yours has some really nice upgrades and really nice additions, maybe it's newer inside, you take that into consideration and see how much more a buyer may want to pay or be willing to pay for your house versus another in the area. So now that part. Now, and that's on a case-by-case basis. Every house will sell for its own price, but different neighborhoods, corner lots, across from parks, backing onto green space, these are other factors you have to take into account. The big thing that I'm seeing right now in this market that I cannot overemphasize to you is condition. In a balanced market and in a buyer's market, buyers are always looking for the best value, and buyers are going to be looking for homes. They're going to be looking at homes. And if your house doesn't compare to the one across the road in terms of staging, that is going to be a major problem for you. So once again, most homeowners, when they live in their house, they think their house is just great. They think that their house doesn't need any changes because you live there. This is where your heart and soul is. This is where your memories are. And that's why it's important to have this outside view to come in, be a realtor, be it the stager, be it an interior designer, whomever you choose to give you some recommendations. Once again, staging works. Staging works. We know that. It's well understood. And some recent stats here that I've got show that in the United States, they say that the average house that is staged will sell from between 1% and 10% more value you will attain for your house. That's significant. for any house. Look at our average sales price right now. Average sales price here in the city of Brantford being 598,000. We're talking 1 to 10%. So $6,000 to $60,000 more your house is going to sell for more. It's a significant number. You do not want to discount this. Now, let me just describe this to you. What does staging look like? Well, staging looks like there's a varied approach to it. First of all, that I can't once again overemphasize, is a clean house is always going to sell for more than a dirty one. Okay, you'd think that doesn't need to be said, but unfortunately, not everyone lives the same. So the cleaner that your house is, the more your house will sell for. There is no question about that. When buyers come in, they need to feel nice and clean and fresh. You don't want to have any odors. You don't want to have any dirt, any filth. You want to eliminate that. That goes along with pets. Pets can be dirty. Pets can be messy. And that's another part that can be very challenging about selling a house that you want to keep in mind. The pet mess needs to be tucked away. It needs to be organized. You have to stay on top of that. Even though you love Fido or the little kitty, not everyone likes them. Not everyone has pets. Not everyone appreciates them. And they don't want the fur on their feet. So you want to keep this into account. Where we always start is we always want to declutter and depersonalize. So when we declutter and depersonalize, I like to tell people, look, we're going to start to pre-pack. We're going to start to pack up all the stuff that you're moving anyways. Let's get this into boxes. Let's get this out of here. Ideally, the smart homeowner will go ahead and start with taking pictures of stuff, running around the house. Grab your phone, run around the house, take pictures of things, get it posted on Facebook Marketplace, on Kijiji, on wherever you're going to be selling it. You'd be surprised what someone would give you for some items. I know we have some interesting experiences, and my wife is great at this. My wife is great at selling our stuff. It's awesome. But I'm constantly surprised when someone will drive around. They'll drive 20 minutes to pay $5 or $8 or $10 for an item. To me, I think, gosh, it'd be easier to click on Amazon. It'll be here tomorrow, and I pay an extra $10. But people will drive. People will drive long distance to buy items. I remember we sold a used iron and a used ironing board once to two separate people. They drove across the county, all across Brant County, to pick them up. So I'm always surprised. I shouldn't be, but I am. There's value in the items you already own. So you want to keep that in mind. So we want to declutter. So once you've sold what you've got, you take everything else, pack it up. Okay. And purge. Get rid of, donate the rest. Okay. I'm not saying get rid of everything, but you want to minimize. And then the next component to staging is, of course, you want to depersonalize. So we know that you've got great pictures of your family and great pictures of your memories and moments. Those are great. You want to minimize that. Not everyone can eliminate them, and I appreciate that. But you do want to minimize that. You don't want the picture of your wedding day, strewn about the house and everything. People need to be able to envision themselves living there, and that's the goal. You need to remove a lot of your stuff and neutralize it so that we have things where people walk through, they can see themselves living there. You just need to, that concept is important. And if you're not sure about that, go through a couple houses. Go look at a house that you're looking to buy or one down the road and go through and see how you feel about how clean it is. See how you feel about how it's decorated in terms of not whether you like the decoration, but the personalization aspect of that. If you see a bunch of pictures of them hanging around the walls, it doesn't really feel like you can live there. It doesn't feel like you're going to fit. So that's a challenge. That's a real problem. And if the buyer comes through the house and they don't feel like they can fit in, they don't feel like they can live there, we're heading in the wrong direction. And for a house that perhaps, sold many vacant homes, if the house is vacant or can be made vacant, then what we certainly want to talk about actually bringing furniture in for that last staging component. Bringing in nice, fresh furniture so every room can be displayed properly. And that's ultra important because most buyers say that they can visualize the rooms and most buyers say they can visualize a home. I'm just here to tell you, most buyers cannot. They say they can, they cannot. They cannot visualize what that room really looks like with furniture in it. And an empty home or an empty room feels much smaller than a room with furniture in it. So if you go into a house that is vacant and completely empty, it always feels that much smaller. So when you bring furniture in, nice furniture that displays the room, it not only feels larger because now you can see where the living room is set up and where the dining room is set up, but it's also going to go ahead and give it the higher end feel, because you got nice new furniture in there. You're not going to see kind of some older furniture in there. That will obviously bring it down a bit, bring down the feel, bring down the quality of it, and buyers will be less interested. Okay, and once again, the goal behind staging is, of course, what I like to mention is that we're doing some pre-move-in items. Get your stuff out, get this stuff flowing. You're moving anyways. Let's get this going. Let's get it out of there. Okay, ultra important. So once again, if you're looking to get more money for your house, two major items, two large takeaways. One, you want to go ahead and make sure the house is clean. Nothing replaces clean. Okay, your house can't be too clean. That's the first thing. Second thing is depersonalize, declutter, and the staging aspect. That you cannot underestimate that, and you can't hide these things with a scented candle or a scented plug-in. Don't try that. That just becomes obnoxious. You got to clean the house. You got to freshen it up. Do the best you can. We all know there's houses out there that can't be. The houses that are heavily smoked in, or heavy pets, or heavy cooking odors. Heavy cooking odors is a major problem in many areas where you walk in and it's not maybe your cuisine and just it doesn't work. It can be very off-putting. And at the end of the day, if that's the only house to buy and that's the house that you're looking to buy, you're looking for a deal as a buyer, right? I mean, every buyer goes through there. They're going to be discounting this. They're going to be looking for a great deal on the house. They're not going to be paying market price. So they're going to try to get as best of a deal as you can. And that's, once again, the staging matters. The staging is ultra important, okay? Now, one thing I want to say to you, if you're looking to sell, please let me know, DM me, send me a quick message, because what we can do is we can go ahead, we can do a quick walkthrough of your house and just give you some good ideas in terms of staging, get a good idea in terms of things to get rid of and how to improve the house so it does show, in the best manner possible. That's super important. If you're looking to do renovations, give me a call. Me or a team member, we can go through the house, have a good look, and make sure that you're spending your money appropriately in the house, and you're not going to overspend or underspend in certain areas. And we know that you're going to get the best return on your investment, on your renovation in the home. A couple of things that I'm seeing people do is that they're over improving right now in certain areas, and we want to avoid that. Now, if you're going to stay for a long time, no problem. Do it how you want. Put the gold taps in, the gold countertops. Amazing. Enjoy it. But do it because you're doing it for you and do it because you love it. But don't do it for the next buyer. Don't do that. That's where I'm seeing a lot of people over renovate, and they want to try to overprice. They recoup their cost. Extremely difficult, especially in this market. So you want to find items that are appropriate to the home, appropriate to the neighborhood, and that's how you want to go ahead and plan for your renovation. Especially if you're planning on selling within the next, realistically, 5 to 8 years. If that's your horizon, don't overspend. If you're going to do it for yourself, you're going to make that improvement. Yeah, you're going to stay longer than 8, 9, 10 years. Great, do it for yourself. Enjoy it. Do it just how you want. But just keep that in mind. And the stat, once again, and get that third-party view in there, the third-party opinion to come in and to give you an idea, because don't do it blindly. I see people do this wrong all the time, or choosing just, poor choices in terms of quality, or poor choices in terms of style or design. You want to avoid that, okay? That's a big thing. And of course, if you're looking for a value, you want to find out what your house is going to be worth by doing these renovations, let me know. Once again, me and our team member, we can come through, we can give you an idea and tell you, hey, if you do this renovation, this addition, that's going to help you. That's going to improve the value the most if you spend it here or there. We'll get into that in some further videos and podcasts, but you want to keep that in mind, that a dollar isn't equal in every area of the home. It's a dollar that's spent is worth more in some areas than in others. Keep that in mind. And it only takes a few minutes. We can just buzz through, take 10, 15 minutes of your time, give you some ideas, give you some recommendations, just to make sure you're on the right path, because I just don't want to see you make some poor choices, or even great bad advice, but, and be led in the wrong direction. So ultra important that we want to make sure that we're making sure we are on the right track. So let's talk about some Q&A. Let's talk about some questions that were sent to me that people are asking about. So, pardon me. One question I have here is, this person's thinking about think about investing in real estate, and they're asking what's the biggest misconception about rental property investments. Well, that is something nearest and dearest to my heart. I love real estate. I love investing in real estate. So this question is important to understand. It's not always a problem. Right now, in headlines, we hear lots of issues, lots of problems with tenants, lots of problems with landlords. But it doesn't need to be that complicated. In that, as long as you run the proper system and you're guided by the right people, you won't make those big mistakes. So, what's the biggest misconception about rental investments? Well, the biggest misconception is that I run across is people say, "Well, I don't want to fix toilets. I'm not getting up in the middle of the night." Well, I can just share with you, neither do I. I don't do that. I don't have to do that. I haven't needed to do that. Yes, I've had emergencies, but I would just say that most emergencies can be handled in a really simple way. If there's a leak, the water can be shut off. If there's a problem, they can be dealt with. If there's a fire, I tell my tenants, if there's a fire, don't call me first. Call the fire department. They're the ones that are going to handle this. I can't be of help or of service when it comes to that. Pardon me. I'm not a fireman, so call them, and I'll be probably running by with my house insurance policy in my hand. They're the ones that handle that. So the emergencies really aren't that great. Just keep that in mind. That's the first thing. Second thing is that people always say to me, "Oh, I don't want to be a slumlord." I'm like, well, I've said to people, I hope not. I hope not. You don't need to be a slumlord to make money, and you don't need to be a slumlord to invest in real estate. That's for sure. There are tenants that love renting. There are great tenants, and I'm personally blessed with lots of awesome, great tenants that we have a great relationship. So you just need to know that those people are out there, and it's a great opportunity to build wealth. It's a great opportunity to go ahead and create a great business when you own multiple pieces of real estate. It is one of the greatest wealth builders that is available to the average person, and that is where I try to get people to. Make sure you understand that you need to go ahead and invest in real estate if you really want to get ahead. If you really want to go ahead and get ahead financially, in my personal opinion. And that's a great way to leverage your time, leverage your energy, and leverage your money. Very important. The next question comes in. People are asking, are prices going up, down, or staying steady? Well, if we draw a line on a chart, I can show some further charts and some information. But since the height of COVID in 21, 22, we're down. Obviously, we're down quite a bit, right? We're down, 25, 30%. And depends on your area, depends on your type of real estate that you own. Condos might be down more than a detached house. Houses that, I can tell you right now, houses that are in poor condition and the people haven't maintained it, they're down even further because buyers are discounting condition. Buyers are discounting houses that need work. So are prices going up, down, or staying steady? Well, right now I project over the next few years, they're going to more or less stay where they are. They're going to stay pretty flat. The common issue, once again, is if your house is in great condition, buyers are going to go ahead and want to buy it. Buyers are going to want to purchase it, and it will be a desirable home. If your house is in a good condition, and in a good location, once again, two major components that buyers are looking for: great location, great condition. Your value is going to be very solid and may even and likely will go up. But over the next, from now till about 2030, it looks like they're probably going to be fairly flat. We don't see right now any major changes in the market. This is dependent, of course, upon interest rates, where the interest rates go. It looks like they're going to be probably tapering down, but staying about where they are potentially, getting mixed reviews on that. But I don't see them dropping dramatically, and I don't see them going up dramatically either. So I think we're going to stay about where we're at until we get to about 2030. Now, 2030, I think the market's going to have that strength. We'll have gone through a bit of a consolidation period of 5-6 years or whatever, and then I think we're going to start to see some appreciation come back. I have some stats I'm going to show you in a further podcast once again to talk about this as an investment, but we're projecting higher property values going into the 2030s. So if you're in a house and you don't plan on moving and you're going to be there for the next 8, 9, 10, 12, 20 years, you're in great shape. You're in great condition. Enjoy it, love it, it's amazing, and you just be glad that you bought the right house and you're exactly where you want to be. So that's about where the prices are going to be, in my opinion, right now. And then the next question that people have is, what really is the first step for someone should take when they decide that they want to buy a house? So, okay, important. If you're looking to buy, if you're a first-time home buyer, a couple steps that you need to take is, one, you need to get pre-approved by a competent lender or competent bank. Not everyone is created equal. I just do want to stress that. And you contact me. I can give you some really great contacts and some referrals of people that I personally use to do my own finances, and they'll get you pre-approved. They'll give you an idea. They'll give you a number of what you can purchase, and if you're not ready, then they'll give you a bit of a roadmap of what you need to do to be ready and how long. And that's the next component, is having an idea of how long that's going to be. Currently, we know that the average home buyer searches online about 9 months before they actually purchase. So if you're thinking, hey, I need to be ready today in order to buy and start looking, you could be wrong. That's where I always tell people, reach out to me, because we usually need to put together a roadmap in terms of where you're at and where you need to go if you're not quite ready right now. So that's ultra important. Make sure that we're ready and we're preparing. And you may say, hey, I don't need to sell, or I don't need to buy for another year. That's no problem. But we need to go and make sure you're on the right path to where you're heading, and that you're ready a year from now, and you're prepared, and you have all the items ticked off, and you're prepared to make sure that you're ready to make that jump. So that's a big thing. So first start is, get in contact with a competent, good mortgage broker or bank who can give you the best advice and the best rates in a perfect world. The best rates depending on your situation. And once again, reach out to me. I can point you in the right direction and give you some great people to work with that I personally use, and want to make sure that we focus on that, because quality people matters. Any other questions you have, please DM me, text me. I've got people that have been texting me. I love that. That's great. Send me a quick message, and if I don't get to your question, I will go ahead and I'll add that to the live for next week, and hopefully address that and answer any questions appropriately or any concerns. So please send those over to me. And then once again, when we're out there, if you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about selling, then what I always want to do is want to make sure that you're prepared. So reach out to me, and I'd love to make that connection and make sure I'm pointing in the right direction, be it for a mortgage broker, a mortgage lender, renovator, a contractor. If you're thinking about doing work to the house, let me know. I know some great ones, and I know that you'll be in good hands, and you're going to be handled well. So as we're moving forward here, DM me also too. The next thing, DM me if you're interested in my home buyer's guide and home seller's guide. Send me a quick message. I'd love to get that out to you. That'll give you a clear roadmap in terms of what to do and in what order and what to expect when you go ahead and buy and when you sell. I get lots of questions sent to me regarding that, and those guides I put together, they really summarize and really will help you in a step-by-step process to make sure that you're going ahead and you're doing things once again in the right order, and you're preparing yourself properly. And I know there's lots of people there that like to watch the market and pay attention to it, and this is what we want to do to make sure that we're keeping pace and we're keeping organized with that. Okay. One big thing that you may have saw from a live that I did earlier this week in a message that I'm going to drop a link to that I talked about and want to bring your attention to is the Brantford Blessing Center. So as you know, every time that I go ahead and I sell a house, I help someone buy or help someone sell, I always donate a portion of all my proceeds to some local worthy causes. And one of those causes that I donate to is the Brantford Blessing Center. Right now, they're going through a large fundraising campaign because they're looking to go ahead and purchase the building that they're currently reside in. And so I'd love to be able to help out with them. I'd love for you to be a part of that, to go ahead and help fund some of that. And if you don't know who the Brantford Blessing Center is, they do some really great, amazing work in here in the city of Brantford, and they feed people and they make sure that people have a warm meal. And they serve anywhere on average about 150 meals a night to people. And these are people that can't afford to feed themselves. They're struggling, and we know there's people out there that are struggling. So we want to just I want to be able to make sure we support them and help them out. So I'm going to have a link down below. They're looking to raise some money. So I tell people, obviously, any amount that you can provide is going to help them out tremendously. And I've got a link below. We can just click on it and make a donation, even if it's an amount that's an amount for a small, a cup of coffee. If that's all you can afford, they love that, because when you go ahead and you pay that forward, the value of a cup of coffee, you know that's going to go forward into helping them serve someone a meal. So if you're looking for an awesome way to go ahead and multiply what you have into many, many more meals for someone, great way to do it. You don't have to contribute a large amount of money. Any amount matters. Any and all values count and add up. So I'll have a link in the description below. So please send that. Please click on that. Ask any questions related to that. Love to go ahead and dive into that with you. And make sure we cover that off. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. Time here goes by really quickly. Please, once again, send in your questions, send in your ideas. And as always, once again, if you're looking to go ahead and get moved, you're looking to go ahead and get your house sold, I will guarantee that your house will be sold, or I'll go ahead and I'll buy it myself. Have a great day. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.